If you do not mind, then appreciate my efforts by subscribing to my channel. Thank you very much in advance.
Welcome to Special News Channel. With the invasion movement initiated by Russian President Vladimir Putin on February 24, Ukraine showed the real success by enduring all difficulties. The Ukrainian forces, which were behind Russia in almost every aspect, such as the number of tanks, soldiers and aircraft, managed to stop the Russian army in many places with the help of volunteer citizens. After strengthening its army with the support of Western countries and the USA, Ukraine is about to complete the way to take the lost lands by taking advantage of all these opportunities. Many things are now in favor of Ukraine. The Ukrainian army, which took the opportunity of Russia, which had suffered heavy losses in the region, to switch to defense mode, launched a major attack and showed a strong resistance and captured many regions under the control of the Russian army. Russia again targeted critical infrastructure with missile attacks. Vladimir Putin has made it clear that he will continue to target Ukraine's energy facilities. Leader Putin admitted that he planned all this in response to the explosion on the bridge connecting Russia's annexed Crimea. At the moment, both countries seem to be trying to prepare mutual offensive operations at full speed in the war. Ukraine, on the other hand, now intends and has the ability to launch attacks against Russian soil. Ukraine is clearly on the hot front line and has the initiative in this war. Zelensky has picked up on this momentum, and the Ukrainian military does not intend to even allow any breathing space for Russia to rest and recover. Ukraine is equipped to attack Moscow. Their ability to detect an attack where the main missile threat to Russia's cities and towns emerges opens a new chapter in the war for Ukraine. The war seems to have turned to another point with the latest news of Ukraine attacking 3 air bases on the Russian mainland. According to reports widely covered in the media, striking drone attacks took place at the military bases of the Moscow army far from the Russian-Ukrainian border, with speculation that the Soviet-built and designed Tupolev Tu-141 Strizh is the prime suspect. The Ukrainian military is allegedly carrying out drone strikes in the area. These drones were originally introduced by the Soviets and were mostly used between 1979 and 89, and the Ukrainians have continued to develop these drones since 2014. The Tu-141 was designed primarily to be a reconnaissance aircraft equipped with various surveillance sensors and has a radius of about 1,000 kilometers. It is powered by a turbojet like the German V1 and WW2, and indeed some of its design inspiration was drawn from Hitler's scribble bugs, so not exactly cutting-edge modern technology, but these drones are clearly still effective in the context of the Russia-Ukraine war. It is not yet clear whether the Ukrainians are arming these drones with some type of ammunition, or if they rely solely on their kinetic energy for the final effect. However, the Kiev army did enough to damage the aircraft and personnel of the invading troops with these tactics. The impact of these Ukrainian drone strikes raises a number of interesting issues. The first is about targeting. Although the attacked airports were hundreds of kilometers from the Russian-Ukrainian border, the Ukrainians knew exactly what was happening there. It was claimed that with these airstrikes, the Ukrainian army blocked the bombers that Russia used to launch missile attacks on them. There has been a lot of information about whether Ukraine has received intelligence from Western satellites before, but in any case, the plethora of commercial satellites providing mapping information indicates that there is now little place to hide, or in this case, to hide aircraft. The battlefield is almost completely transparent these days. Second, while we don't know how many Tu-144s were launched and how many may have been hit, the fact that at least 3 of them landed deep in Russian territory and successfully arrived at target indicates something is missing. It is obvious that the Russian air defense is insufficient in this regard. The widespread use of uncrewed aerial and sea surface autonomous and semi-autonomous drones has been a wake-up call for everyone. Third, we should note how quickly the United States declared that it did not encourage or allow Ukraine to take these specific actions. The US-led NATO military alliance had previously refused to provide such weapons to Kiev, fearing that this could lead to a major escalation. State Secretary for Defense Antony Blinken, in a speech after the attacks, made it clear that the United States was still determined in its stance, but above all, Ukraine now appears to have the intention and ability to respond to Russian soil. After all these statements, Russian forces focused on targeting Ukraine's power plants, fuel tanks, and water supply after suffering a series of failures on the battlefield. Russia aims to affect the morale of the Ukrainian people with attacks on its energy infrastructures. Leader Vladimir Putin thinks that people will rebel against their government when they are cold and helpless. On the other hand, Ukrainians continue to surprise Russia by expressing at every opportunity that they are ready to live without electricity, and if it will pay, how, way to for their country's independence and European Union membership.